I mentioned, Brian, they're trying, and they are. Powerhouse Hobbs gets a match and a promo on the same show. And even better, it's a match against a job guy, so he gets to win. If only, and I know we got to be thankful for small favors, and I'm not trying to bite the hand that feeds us. If only they'd have done this at the start of his career, instead of after we've been watching him for a year and a half. But nevertheless, Matt DiMartino was the job guy. The job guy could have looked better. Again, I'll be thankful for small favors. But, you know, there is such a thing as wrestlers that have been out on the independents for 4 or 5 years that have some experience and a tan and don't look like they're 12 years old and scared to death. And you could probably, for enough money, get one of them to come and do a job on your television instead of, this can't even be QT's wrestling school anymore, can it? They're just random people walking up.
Well, they're in Albany, New York. I got to assume it's someone from upstate New York.
I used to have a list of every goddamn qualified, competent, independent wrestler in various regions that could drive no more than 4 hours and get to all the WWE TV tapings. They all had gimmicks. They all had experience. They all had gear. They all mostly had tans. And it wasn't, I know you've seen a lot of WWE rotten-looking jobbers back in the 90s, but not while I was in charge of the extras, as they called them. Anyway, Hobbs, boom, spine buster, over 1, 2, 3 in 30 seconds. Like I said, they're trying. And then he takes a promo. Somehow he busted his own lip open, probably on the spine buster, but he's bleeding from the mouth. But that's okay, because it made him look even more vicious. He does a short promo about Starks. It was okay, but brief. And he just needs practice and repetition. No reason to go out there and go 5 hours. But here comes Starks down the stairs from the cheap seats into the arena, and the people are coming up because here Starks is coming down. We're going to have a confrontation. Oh, shit. And Hobbs is standing his ground. And this is great, except for, again, one detail. And I'm trying to give credit where credit's due. They gave Hobbs a win in decisive fashion. They gave him a promo. Starks looks like a baby face that he's not going to back down. He's going to come down. He's going to instigate the fight. Hobbs is a big badass. He's not going to back up. Starks ducks past, does a head fake past security at ringside, and dives in the ring, and they get in a brief fight, but Starks pickles him once, twice, maybe 3 times, grabs the microphone that was dropped, hits fucking Hobbs in the head with the microphone. Hobbs takes a bump through the ropes to the floor, but lands on his feet there. And it was a nice little fucking bump that a big guy takes through the ropes that still doesn't knock him out, and he doesn't oversell it. And then they both stood there. Because here was the one thing, and again, if AEW has any producers at this point that weren't still suspended or whatever, or anybody with any goddamn common sense, this was a perfect deal up until the time that Hobbs took the bump through the ropes. Starks coming down the stairs from general admission and to ringside, 20 seconds before that, there had been security lined up to prevent him from coming into the ring, and he did the head fake to the side and then slid in. When Hobbs took the bump out on the floor and landed on his feet, 6 or 7 security guys, a couple of referees should have been there, boom, like that. Put bodies in between Hobbs and the ring so he doesn't have to climb back up on the apron and get back into it with Starks, because you want the fight to be over, but you got to give Hobbs a graceful exit, a way out. And then you can't make Starks look like a pussy either. He's nailed the guy out on the floor, but the guy's still on his fucking feet. And this is the same guy that betrayed Starks and stabbed him in the back and clotheslined him from behind in his bad neck. So why would Starks stop the attack just because Hobbs took a bump to the floor when he's still on his feet. No invisible wall raised up to separate them, so that's why you throw the bodies in the middle. Now you've got a visual barrier. It's not only a lot more action with everybody waving their arms and going, stop, stop, but now Starks has people in his way of getting to Hobbs, and Hobbs has people in his way of trying to get back up on the apron to get back in the ring. And he also knows that if he was to do that with all those people hanging off of him, he would open himself up to Starks coming over and kicking him right in the face. So that's the way you separate the fucking fight. And then the announcers can sell how bad these guys want to get a hold of each other. And if all those people weren't in the way, they'd be ripping each other limb from limb. It's just a little tweak, but it goes a long way. Instead of Hobbs standing on the floor, Stark standing in the ring, they play the music, and the announcers just say, well, we'll be right back. Nothing's going to happen here. Why didn't Hobbs go back and try to kick Starks' ass? Why didn't Starks continue the fight? Very simple 5-second solution. Nobody thought of it. What do you think, Brian?
I think that's why it happened. There was no one there who had the knowledge to think of it, to tell them to do it.
This is not advanced calculus to think of something like that. This is anybody with fucking 6 months experience in the wrestling business.
A lot of things happen in a different way in AEW. Again, Stokely did 3 weeks worth of promos in one night tonight, as you said earlier.
All right.
I'm just happy Ricky Starks is still in this, I guess, in this feud, is still wrestling, because after the way they treated him at the pay-per-view, I thought he was hurt again.
Well, it was abrupt and out of nowhere at the pay-per-view.